Daryl here, and welcome to Dad Beard Life. This week, things are a little bit different. One, video is loading a little bit later, experimenting with a few times. But most importantly, this video is actually going to be dedicated to all my new and soon-to-be dads out there. So if you're expecting or you've recently had a baby, I'm here to talk to you guys specifically and share some advice that I've learned over the years that would have been helpful to me when I was in your situation right now. So I hope you enjoy. This isn't a rant. This is just my genuine advice going to y'all from one dad to another, and I hope y'all enjoy. So first and foremost, let me just say, yes, right now we're living in some crazy times and things are very scary. There's a lot of unknowns, a lot of uncertainties, and if you haven't already, I'm more than sure the hospital's already going to tell you guys that you may not be able to be in the room when your child's being born. Of course, that's depending on the state. But that's happening across the US right now because of this pandemic. And you know, as tough as it sounds, it's probably more tougher on your spouse or significant other who will have to be doing it on their own. So my first recommendation to you guys out there is just stay strong, be that rock for them, because if you think you're scared, they're way more scared than you are, because they have to actually go through the whole process of giving birth to a child alone with just the nurse. I mean, not alone, right? They have the nurses and the doctors, but it's not the same to have your husband or spouse or partner there with you through the process. So stay strong for them, try to remain positive and be encouraging. Help them through this because they are scared out of their minds right now, as you probably are as well. But just kind of take a step back, breathe, and be there for them. Be their support system. And that's going to continue throughout the time that you have your child, of course, right? So once the baby's born, you're also going to be that support system for your wife or spouse or significant other. So just be there for them and be very supportive. That's my first piece of advice to you guys. Now, after the baby's born, one of the biggest things that I can say to you guys is don't sweat the little things. Nothing's gonna ever go as planned or as expected. So any parties or family gatherings once all this is over, or any appointments or anything that you think you can plan by time, that's going out the window because babies have a mind of their own and they follow a schedule all their own. So it's best now to just get accustomed to knowing that nothing's gonna go as planned. So don't get upset if things don't go according to the way you want it to go. If you're planning a nice dinner for your spouse, or it's happened plenty of times for me personally where I planned a breakfast where I make this big old breakfast for my wife, but then our baby wakes up right when I'm finishing making the last piece of the menu, and then she has to feed the baby, and then I feel bad because then her food's gonna start getting cold. So I figure ways around it to try and help her out there. So just know that, you know, things aren't gonna go as planned and it's okay. And not everyone's gonna know what to do in certain situations. I mean, nobody really does know. These babies don't come with a manual or handbook. So you're not alone in that. Don't get frustrated in that. And lean on your family for support. Your family is gonna be your biggest support system. Or if you have really close friends, then your close friends are also gonna be that support system for you to help you get sane sometimes. You know, if you have other friends that are dads, you know, don't be afraid to ask them questions if you have that kind of bond with them. I know my personal friends can always reach out to me if they ever need anything, and I'm happy to lend advice and lend an ear just to rant if they wanted to just go off and vent about something, right? So have that support system in place. And if your family offers help, like watching the baby or taking the baby for a few hours so you can sleep, or you and your wife can go out to eat or do something, take it. Don't feel too proud to not accept the help. You know, it's one thing to be proud that you can handle things on your own. It's another thing to be arrogant and just not take the help and then be suffering because you need a break. Trust me, you will need a break. So accept the help if it's offered to you and don't say no. I mean, and plus your family's gonna love spending time with your baby anyway, so accept it. Now, another piece of advice that I have is really more geared towards once the baby gets older, especially into like the toddler years, the terrible twos is what they call it or whatever. Always be a united front with your spouse, always. Even if you think that you're right and she's wrong, save that crap for personal conversation. Agree, be a united front, discipline your child accordingly, however you two feel fit, but stay together in it. Do not let your child see you divided because they will manipulate you if you let them. So don't let that happen. Don't do the old, oh, well, mom said no, let me ask dad, or dad said no, let me ask mom, right? So you guys want to form a united front so your child knows that no means no, and regardless of whether they ask you or their mom, it's still going to be the same. So you guys need to always remember to stay the same in that aspect. And like I said, if you disagree or if she disagrees, then maybe you two should talk about that privately with the baby's, you know, or the child's in another room or asleep, taking a nap or whatever. Then you can kind of come back and say, you know what, I kind of didn't really agree with that. Here's why. And maybe next time we handle it differently. be open and communicate like that. That's the only way you guys are going to stay together as far as united fronts, and making sure that your child knows that one doesn't have more power than the other. Now, another thing I wanted to make note of is to understand that you need to be patient. There is no one correct way to raise a child. So although you're going to get a lot of advice from other parents, from relatives, from friends, from family, all that good stuff, it's good. Accept it. Listen to it. Hear them out. Pick up here and there what you feel you need. Nobody knows your child better than you do. And each kid is going to be different. Some kids are more rambunctious than others. And especially when they're siblings, you have polar opposites sometimes. So you need to understand that there's no one right way to raise a kid, but the biggest thing that I've learned over the years is patience. Understand that you're gonna have to learn their process, their thought process, and figure out how to get to them or connect to them to make them understand good decisions, bad decisions, or how to get them to do what you want, right? It's not trying to mind control them. It's not trying to be overbearing and being a helicopter parent. That's the last thing you want to do, because your child doesn't ever learn how to learn through trial and error. But you still got to kind of figure that piece out. And it's going to be the toughest piece. And that's something that's going to be ongoing for years. And that's why I say to just be patient. Learn as much as you can. If you're still expecting and the baby hasn't been born yet, learn as much as you can. Read books. There's a lot of online articles, a lot of good websites. I personally read The Expectant Father. I'm not the type to read books, but I read that book and I read it cover to cover. I didn't put it down. It is a great book to read. It explains not only what to expect as a father, but what's going on with your spouse, so that you can understand what's happening. And it kind of gives you examples, talking about family advice, talking about, who's going to be in the room with the baby if you're able to, stuff like that. It's a very good book to read. I still own my copy that I bought 9 years ago. To this day, I bought it about 9-10 years ago, before my first son was born, and I read it. And I loved it, and I kept it, because now that we have our second son, I plan on actually using it as reference as well, because sometimes I forget that, things happen a certain way, like the teething and like the sleeping patterns, and when they're gonna be old enough to play with certain toys and nap and stuff like that. It's a very informative book, so I really recommend it. I'll put a link to it in the description below in case you're interested in reading it. I'm pretty sure there's a digital version now, but I have the hard copy, the paperback version, and like I said, I just keep it with me. So I recommend that to you guys if you're into reading. Back to the topic of being patient. Not only be patient with your child, you need to be patient with each other. Now, you both are going to be going through a lot. You're both going to be tired. Her more than you, because she's probably going to be the one getting up to feed the baby. I know I said I'd get up if I could, but I can probably sleep through a dang tornado, because I don't hear the baby at all. And I feel bad. So in the mornings, I'll get up and I'll get up in the morning and I'll grab the baby and take the baby downstairs, so that way my wife can get a little bit extra sleep. It's little things like that you should also probably do, just to kind of help. But understand that you both are going to be tired. You both don't know what you're doing. You're both trying to learn this as you go along. So there's no point in getting frustrated with one another, because either one of you doesn't know what to do, or one of you made a mistake and didn't know, the diaper should have been more secure or stretched out. Or, diapers are very easy to use, but I'm just using it as an example, right? Learn as much as you can. Ask questions. Ask your spouse. If you don't know and you see her, she's the one making the bottles all the time, and you want to help make a bottle, ask her, how do you do this? How many scoops do you use? Read the label in the back, but if you can't, then, ask her. Ask her, how do you know when he's ready for a bottle? Or how do you know when, they just want to play? Or, just ask. Maternal instincts kick in, or so do paternal instincts. So your father instincts will kick in, but don't be afraid to lean on one another for support. And if you feel you're getting frustrated to that point where you're going to probably fight, honestly, if it were me, I'd take a step back and just kind of take a few breaths, and then understand what you want to get across as far as your point, and then have a conversation about it. There's no need in arguing. You both are very exhausted about it, and you both are going through a lot right now, especially during this pandemic times. No need to make it worse. So just trust me in that, and I promise you guys will be a lot happier that way. Just be patient with one another as well. And above all else, if you don't get anything out of this video, anything out of what I just said, know that you and your spouse brought another life into this world, which is the most beautiful thing anybody can do. I don't care what anybody says. Bringing a child into this world is amazing. It's a one-in-a-lifetime experience, and there's no other feeling like it when you hold your baby in your arms for the first time. In that, you need to also understand that it doesn't matter what anybody thinks or anybody says about the current situation and times, your focus needs to always be on your family and your children and your wife. They always come first. There's no more me first. It's my kid, my spouse, then me. That's how it's gonna be, and it's okay. And you're not alone. If you don't have a support group or another dad that you can bounce stuff off of or talk to or vent to, I'm here. You may not know me personally. Some of you do by watching my videos, and I appreciate that very much. But if you don't know me personally and you're just watching these videos on YouTube and you happen to come across this video, you can message me. All my social media stuff is under the description. I'd be happy to answer questions. I may not be the most knowledgeable because I have 2 kids, but I have my experience and I know what it's like to go through being alone. Our first son was born when we lived in Phoenix, and we didn't have our immediate family available. My wife had to learn a lot of stuff through FaceTime, and my son saw his family through FaceTime a lot for the first 4 years of his life. So I understand what it's like to be alone in that. We had some great family friends that, I've known for a while that have been very helpful, but we really just depended on ourselves. And I can tell you from experience, it's not easy, but it's well worth it. The love for your child is gonna be there the minute you lay eyes on them, and their love for you is gonna grow immensely over the years and months. The first few weeks are gonna be the toughest, because that's when they're both trying to figure out what's going on, because we just came out of this comfy womb, and they don't know what the hell's going on. You don't know what the hell's going on. It's gonna be a little crazy for the first few weeks, but stay firm in what I just told you in this video. Be there for your spouse, be there for your child, and things will get easier. Raising a child is not easy. I will say that until I am dead. But it is one of the most rewarding things I have ever done in my life. And I am very grateful and appreciative for it, as should you be. So thank you so much again for watching my video and listening to me talk. And if you take my advice, thank you. And if you want to reach out, you're more than welcome to. Everyone, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you can know when I upload my next video.